One mix, one jar, something you probably already have sitting in your kitchen right now. And in about 2 weeks, my tomato plants changed more than they had in the entire previous month. Thicker stems, darker leaves, peppers that had been sitting stagnant suddenly pushing out new growth. Everyone online is telling you to use eggshells, banana peels, coffee grounds. I tried all of it, barely anything happened. So I dug deeper and found one combination almost nobody is talking about, made the right way, not the way most videos show it. I want to admit something before we go further, because it's the reason I even started digging into this. Last summer, I almost ripped out a perfectly healthy tomato plant. I assumed it was done, leaves yellowing, fruit stalling, barely any new flowers. Turned out it wasn't done at all. It was stressed and I was reading every single sign wrong. So if you're about to give up on a plant right now, hold off for the next few minutes. Before I give you the recipe, let me show you what it actually did, because I'd rather you see the result first, then decide if it's worth 5 minutes to make. By day 11, visibly thicker stems and 4 new sets of leaves on plants that had barely moved in 3 weeks. By harvest, noticeably fewer tomatoes with that sunken black rot spot at the bottom, but stick with me because how that happened might surprise you and it's not what most videos tell you. Quick thing, drop your country in the comments. I want to see where this is landing and I read every single one. Okay, let's talk about why your tomatoes might be stuck. Section 1. If you've watched other gardening videos on this topic, you've probably noticed something. They tell you use eggshells for calcium. They tell you add coffee grounds for nitrogen. They rarely tell you the timing. They rarely tell you the ratio. And almost none of them tell you the truth about what's actually causing your biggest problem. Here's the part most videos skip. Plants don't just need nutrients, they need them in a form their roots can actually use at a stage where the plant can actually use it. There's another mistake I see all the time. Someone watches a video, tries one homemade fertilizer once, doesn't see dramatic results by the weekend, and decides it doesn't work. Plants don't respond that way. A tomato that's been under heat stress or growing in tired soil for weeks isn't going to completely turn around overnight. What you're looking for first is subtle improvement, new growth looking healthier, stems thickening, leaves holding their color better. Those small changes usually come before bigger harvests. Raw, crushed eggshells are a good example. They do contain calcium, but unprocessed shell fragments can take a long time to break down in soil, sometimes longer than a single growing season. The calcium is technically there, it's just not available yet. That's part of why so many people say, I tried the eggshell trick and nothing happened. But here's something even more important, and almost nobody says this part out loud. For most gardens, calcium was never really the problem to begin with. Section 2. The Blossom End Rot Truth. Let's talk about that sunken, black, leathery spot on the bottom of your tomatoes, because I got this wrong for years, and I bet a lot of you have too. Almost every video treats blossom end rot as a calcium deficiency. Crushed eggshells, calcium sprays, bone meal, all aimed at fixing a problem that, in most home gardens, isn't actually about how much calcium is in the soil. Most garden soil already has plenty of calcium sitting in it, mostly unused. The real issue is usually inconsistent watering. Bone dry, then soaked, then dry again. Under those swings, the plant can't move calcium through its tissue evenly, and the fruit is where that failure shows up first. So if your tomatoes have blossom end rot, the fastest fix isn't more calcium. It's more consistent watering, deep, even on a schedule, not whenever you remember. Which means I need to correct something before we go further. The calcium step in this mix isn't the reason blossom end rot improved for me. Watering consistency did the heavy lifting. What the mix actually does, and this is the part that genuinely surprised me, is something else entirely. Section 3. The mix. Here's the process. I call it the 3-stage ferment because instead of dumping raw scraps in a bucket, each stage is meant to get things into a more usable form before it touches your soil. Stage 1. The base. Leftover rice water, not the rice itself, the cloudy water left over after rinsing or boiling rice. Most people pour this straight down the drain. That water carries starches and trace minerals that can help feed the beneficial microbes already living in healthy soil. Stage 2. The surprising ingredient. This is the one that isn't a fertilizer at all, and it's not even something most people think belongs anywhere near a garden. A small amount of active dry yeast. Yeast doesn't feed your plant directly. What it does, once it's active in the soil, is support the beneficial microbial activity already living around the root zone. That's a real, documented mechanism. It's just almost never used in home garden mixes because it sounds like something for bread, not tomatoes. Add your yeast and a teaspoon of unrefined molasses to the rice water. Room temperature water matters here. Cold water can shock the yeast into staying dormant. Let it sit 10 to 15 minutes until it foams lightly on top. That foam is your sign it's alive. Skip that step or rush it and the rest of the mix underperforms before you've even used it. Stage 3, the mineral step. Take dried, crushed eggshells and soak them in white vinegar for 24 hours. This converts some of the calcium carbonate into calcium acetate, a form that's easier for a plant to take up than raw shell fragments. To be direct about what this is actually doing, it's a minor supporting nutrient here, not the fix for blossom end rot. That fix is your watering schedule. This is just extra mineral support riding alongside it. Strain out the shell residue and combine that liquid into your active, foaming rice yeast base. 3 ingredients, mostly things already in your kitchen. The process is what makes it work, and getting the sequence right is what most people skip. Section 4, this is exactly where people go wrong, and I made this mistake myself the first time. Letting the finished mix sit around too long. Once it's combined, use it that same day. In summer heat, a mixture with sugars in it can start growing mold in a container within hours, sometimes the same afternoon. Mix it, use it, don't save it for tomorrow. Second mistake, applying it at full strength. Always dilute 1 part mix to 10 parts water. Skip that and you risk root stress instead of root support, and the plant can end up looking worse, not better. That's usually the exact point where people give up and assume the whole method doesn't work. Get those 2 details right, and you avoid the mistakes that make most homemade mixes disappointing. Section 5, the application schedule. Seedling to early vegetative stage, diluted 1 to 10 once every 10 days straight to the soil, not the leaves. Flowering stage once every 7 days, still diluted. This is when steady support matters most since fruit is actively developing. Fruiting stage, ease off any extra nitrogen sources, but keep the mix going every 7 to 10 days. Apply early morning or early evening, never in afternoon heat. Feeding during peak heat stresses the plant and works against the benefit you're going for. Which one of these stages is your plant in right now? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how many of you are dealing with flowering stress versus fruit already forming. If you try this and don't notice much after 2 or 3 weeks, don't immediately assume the mix failed. Ask yourself a few questions instead. Is the plant getting at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight? Has the soil been drying out completely between waterings? Is the container too small for the roots? Are you trying to revive a plant that's already badly diseased? Homemade mixes work best on stressed but otherwise healthy plants. They aren't miracle cures for plants that are already beyond recovery. Section 6, what actually happened? Here's what one season looked like for me, worth saying up front. Results vary by climate, soil, and consistency, but this is my honest record. Week 1, nothing dramatic, slightly deeper green in the leaves. Day 11, noticeably thicker stems. Pepper plants that had been stagnant for almost 3 weeks pushed out 4 new sets of leaves. Week 4, flowering picked up, and blossom drop was lower than in past seasons. Harvest, tomatoes were larger on average and blossom end rot dropped sharply, but that drop came from finally watering on a consistent schedule at the same time I started this mix. I can't credit the mix alone for that part, and I won't pretend otherwise. What I can credit to the mix specifically: the visibly greener growth, the thicker stems, and the steadier overall plant health through a stressful stretch of summer. Quick honesty check: this mix won't fix bad watering or replace fertilizer in genuinely depleted soil. It supports the fundamentals, it doesn't replace them. Section 7, the layer piece almost nobody in this niche mentions. After your mix has been applied for a few cycles, top dress the base of your plant with used dried coffee grounds, fully dried for at least a week first. Fresh, wet grounds compact the soil and block airflow to the roots. Dried grounds, spread thin, slowly release nitrogen and improve soil texture over time. Fast-acting root drench plus a slow-release layer for long-term soil health. That combination is why this kept improving my garden well past the point most quick fixes stop working. Total cost for a full batch, under $2 using ingredients you likely already have. That's doing a job some bottled biological fertilizers charge $15 to $20 for minus the overpromising most of those labels come with. One more thing before we wrap up. If your peppers are producing dozens of flowers and almost no actual peppers, that's not the same problem we just covered. It's a completely different mechanism, tied to heat and pollination, and there's one detail almost every gardener misses about it in the hottest weeks of summer. Quick recap: activate your yeast and molasses in room temperature rice water for 10 to 15 minutes until it foams. Add your vinegar-converted eggshell liquid, dilute 1 to 10, and apply every 7 to 10 days depending on your plant's stage, same-day use only. Fix your watering schedule first. This mix supports everything else around it. If the generic tips didn't do much for you before, now you know why, and you've got the version with the details actually filled in. Tell me in the comments, what's the biggest problem you're dealing with on your tomatoes or peppers right now? I read every comment, and the flower drop problem I just mentioned might be the very next video. If this helped, share it with a gardener you know who's watching their harvest stall out right now, and subscribe so you don't miss it. One mix, a handful of kitchen ingredients, and a real, honest shot at a stronger harvest before the season's done.